Lisa, you're doing a great job, but I wasn't giving you a thumbs up. Well, let me welcome everybody to the October 3rd, 2023 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Clavin.
I'm here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Here.
Councilwoman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Here.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Receiver of Taxes Janine Driscoll.
Here.
Okay, I'm going to ask that Councilwoman Ryder lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hold on. Wait a second.
Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Town Clerk?
Yes, before we start the formal portion of the record to reflect that the tentative budget for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024 is being distributed to the supervisor and the town board members.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for taking that notice. Here, I'll help you. Come on. I'll help you. Here, go on. Thank you. Thanks.
Until we address it. Thank you, Deputy Town Clerk.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And with that, Madam Clerk, please call the first public hearing.
We have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in North Valley Stream.
Okay, does any member of the board wish to be heard on this? All right, I do not have any slips on this. Does anybody in public want to be heard on item number 1 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
Closed and the board adopt the item.
I second that motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in North Merrick, Oceanside, and Woodmere.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? All right, I do not have any slips. Anybody wish to be heard that did not sign in item number 2? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in North Woodmere.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? All right, I do not have any slips on item number 3. Anybody wish to be heard that did not sign in? All right, please have a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding U-turns prohibited in West Hempstead.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? And if any slips on item number 4, anybody not sign in wish to be heard on item number 4? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding bus stops in East Meadow and Seaford.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? All right, have any slips on this item? Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in? Item number 5? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding fire zones in Levittown.
All right, any member of the board wish to be heard? None of any slips? Anybody wish to be heard on item number 6 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
All right. Please, Madam Clerk, if we call the next item. I know, sorry.
We have a proposed local law regarding school speed limits in West Hempstead.
All right. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips on item number 7. Anybody did not sign in and wishes to be heard on number 7? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Baldwin, Elmont, Franklin Square, and Merrick.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay. I don't have any slips on item number 8. Anybody not signed in wishes to be heard on this item? If not, motion, please.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopts the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a motion to consider the application of Baldwin G2D development in the Baldwin Mixed-Use Zoning Overlay District of the Building Zone Ordinance.
Okay. Counselor, if you identify yourself.
Yes, of course. Good morning, Mr. Supervisor, Deputy Supervisor Gooseby, council members. My name is Greg Alvarez from Amato Law Group, 666 Old Country Road, Garden City, New York, here on behalf of the applicant G2D Developments. All right, thank you.
Please continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're here this morning to discuss a project of a mixed-use development at 2283 Grand Avenue in Baldwin. This property is a through lot, so it's located on both Grand Avenue and Harrison Avenue, south of Sunrise Highway. It's situated within the Baldwin Mixed-Use Zoning Overlay District, and more specifically, the Transit-Oriented Development Sub-District. Currently, the property is operated by the Cesare Family Funeral Home, which actually intends to relocate due to this development to a different location within the community to continue to operate. The basics of the development, it consists of 54 market rate rental units that will break down as 12 one-bedroom and 42 two-bedroom. Excuse me. Also, there will be a 2,344 square foot office on the ground floor. So just by definition, the purpose of the overlay district will be met by this development in that it's to create a walkable, compact, and transit-oriented downtown with a mixture of uses. So that's really the purpose of this development here. The relief that's requested as part of this development are threefold. First, we're asking for relief under the development bonus calculation within the building zone ordinance for the number of parking spaces. We will meet the number of parking spaces using this calculation, and so we'll be seeking it here. The second item is for maximum front yard setback, and that's to Harrison Avenue. And the reason for that is that we want to orient everything towards Grand Avenue, which is, again, the purpose of this overlay district. The third item we're asking for is minimum landscape buffer along the residential to the south. Notwithstanding this, we're proposing a robust 15-foot buffer along that area to certainly meet the spirit of the request that we're asking for. One other item that we do request as part of this, more of a housekeeping item, there is a 1953 declaration that's on the property, and it was granted by this board then as part of the rezone of the portion of the property nearest Grand Avenue for business. This allowed for parking to be situated further beyond the business zone, and in light of the overlay district, we feel it has been mooted out, so we would ask for the board to lift that declaration at this time. I mentioned about the parking. So as part of the request for the development bonus calculation, the building zone ordinance asked that the applicant provide a community benefit in support of that request. And here, G2D is offering a $200,000 community benefit that would be used for purposes to be designated by the town for community improvements. This application has been reviewed extensively. In particular, it was reviewed by the Design Review Board, where we looked at various aspects of the application, resulting in their recommendation from July 21st. It's also been reviewed by the Nassau County Police Department, the Baldwin Fire Department, the Nassau County Fire Marshal, the Nassau County Department of Public Works, and the Baldwin Civic Association, all of which were favorable to this application. Finally, we asked for this board to issue a negative declaration under SECRA, and that is in connection with the review by VHB, the town's own consultants, who prepared a report and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. So at this time, I'd just like to bring up a few folks to talk very briefly about the application. First, I'd just like to introduce two folks from G2D Development. We have Greg DeRosa and Philip Foote, who like to thank this board, the Design Review Board, the Building Department, everyone who has taken part in this process to this point. We also have William Novak here from JMB Design, who prepared the rendering, which is in front of me here, which I believe certainly speaks for itself in terms of the design. At this time, I though would like to ask Zachary Chaplin from Stonefield Engineering to join us for a moment to talk a little bit about the site design aspects. So I'll yield the floor.
Thank you. Good morning. Just for the record, my name is Zachary Chaplin, last name C-H-A-P-L-I-N, and I'm with Stonefield Engineering and Design, civil engineer for the project. I'll be brief. I think Mr. Alvarez did a nice job kind of summarizing the project. I think just looking at this from a site layout standpoint, we have a narrow lot. So I think it was a little bit challenging when we were looking at laying out this site, and of course meeting the intent of the overlay district. So our goal was to put the building as close to Grand Avenue as possible. We worked closely with Nassau County DPW on the access and the curb cut. That curb cut is right in, right out only on Grand Avenue. And then the access on Harrison is actually going to be gated off, would be a breakaway gate only during emergencies for fire. The other part I want to talk about is, currently this site's a funeral home and there's a lot of parking in the back. We understand, we are abutting residential in that southeast corner. So we made it a point to add in that 15-foot buffer, which is actually an improvement compared to what's there today. Overall, the project's proposing over 180 evergreen trees, and I believe 8 shade trees. So there's definitely going to be a nice aesthetic of increased landscaping on the site. I think by putting the building close to Grand Avenue, you create that streetscape, as you can kind of see from the rendering. And then, of course, the project's going to improve drainage, brand new LED lighting, and obviously utilities to support the project. So in summary, I think, just from a site layout standpoint, we are dealing with that narrow lot, but we did meet most, if not all, of the overlay district, with that layout and design in place, working very closely with the numerous agencies that Mr. Alvarez mentioned.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd ask that Amanda LaRosa from Stonefield Engineering step forward to speak about her traffic analysis in relation to this development.
Good morning, Amanda LaRosa, also with Stonefield Engineering. I prepared the traffic and parking assessment that was submitted in connection with this application. The report findings indicate that the development is expected to generate relatively low traffic volumes. We're talking about approximately 26 total trips that's entering and exiting during the heaviest traveled peak hour. We also assessed the parking supply in connection with this application. We looked at parking demand rates published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which is an industry standard. And even without considering principles of shared parking, the findings do indicate that the parking supply is sufficient to meet the expected parking demand associated with both the residential and office components of the project.
Thank you. Thank you. And finally, I just ask TJ Ritchie from Stonefield Engineering, as a professional planner, to talk a little bit about the overlay district and the relief that we're asking for.
Hi, for the record, Thomas Ricci, RICCI, licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey, member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. I was hired by the applicant as the planning consultant to analyze the project. So basically, this is a project that's in the Baldwin Mixed-Use Overlay District, specifically the TOD district, which is a transit-oriented development district. Now, the goals of that district are to create development that's proximate to the train station, so it's accessible for commuters. We're about 0.2 miles away from the train station. So we as planners, we shoot for that 0.25, that quarter mile, which is very accessible for someone to live nearby and actually utilize that station. Some more goals are to drive foot traffic for some of the growing retail uses in the area, meeting increasing demand for different housing types like we have here, like apartment-style living, and really just to foster more of that downtown setting. So that's usually what you do with these types of developments in transit-oriented development districts. So I think that the project as a whole checks all of those boxes. We are seeking some relief that's really born out of a technicality of the site itself. We have this kind of narrow through lot, which is why we don't comply with the landscape buffer requirement. But I think that the ultimate goal of the project is to have as much building up along that frontage to kind of create that streetscape look. And then you obviously have to have those areas for the drive aisles to access the parking lot. So we're kind of working with the constraints of the lot. And, that's the same reasoning for the rest of the relief too. The front setback, it's because we're trying to stay away from Harrison, which is to the rear, and put that building close to the Baldwin Street front. And then as well as the parking, kind of working with the narrowness of the lot. So really after, my review as a certified planner and a professional planner, I don't think that the relief is substantial. Like I said, it's not something that's self-created, kind of working with the constraints of the lot. I think it checks all the boxes for for what the zone goals are for this area. Thank you.
All right, at this time, that concludes our presentation. So if there are any questions, we welcome them from the board or the public.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez, and I appreciate the presentation. We do have a number of residents that want to be heard. We'll see if some questions come up, and at the end, we'll give you an opportunity to come up and address them. So I'll start with Jeanette Breen. Good morning. If you just give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Yes, so I'm Jeanette Breen. I'm a homeowner and resident of Harrison Avenue in Baldwin. I have a professional healthcare practice in Baldwin. I'd like to, there's a lot of attempts being made to keep Baldwin a thriving suburban community, responsible community. I'm definitely opposed to this application. It doesn't seem like this is being responsible to the community right now. It seems like it's just adding to the congestion of our community of people that are renting, who are not necessarily have a vested interest in the community, looking for a place to stay or to live or something that's close to the train station. I understand that, but I just appreciate the opportunity to be at this town meeting and see all the dignitaries here and the population here. It's the first time I've ever been to a town meeting, but I'm glad for the opportunity to get the information from the people that are trying to build and utilize this space. It would be nice if we kept it a suburban area rather than an urban area. And we had people that are coming into the community that are going to be contributors. And that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you for taking time to come, Ms. Breen. Next, I have Susan Appleman. You taking a pass? Okay. Rhonda Eisenberg? Hi, how you doing? You should go to the back. Thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and address. Thank you.
In March of this year, a number of you stood in front of the Port Washington train station to oppose the building of affordable housing units, saying that it destroyed the fabric of the suburbs. Why is it okay to build all these units in Baldwin, but not on the North Shore? That's one of my questions. Second, I read in a local newspaper that there's also going to be some some units built on Merrick Road, west of Grand Avenue, where the old diner / auto parts place was. Is that true? Is that also going to be built? I don't know what, we already have affordable housing in Baldwin. We have a whole development on Grand Avenue. I don't really understand what's happening here. Why is it okay for Baldwin? I mean, I think there has to be affordable housing for people. What's wrong with the North Shore? Why is it only Baldwin?
Okay.
My last statement is, because I'm sure it's going to happen anyway, because you guys don't live in Baldwin, so it's going to be okay with you. But if this happens, I saw that in Oceanside, near South Nassau Dermatology, there were parking signs that said no parking from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. unless you have a permit. I think that those of us who live on Harrison and Bixby Drive would want those signs, because I don't care how many gates you put up, people are going to be parking all over the place. So I don't know if you could do it for Baldwin. I mean, it's Baldwin, not Oceanside. Oh, and by the way, maybe you're going to build a unit where the old Friendlies was. Think about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eisenberg. And in relation to the event that was happening up in, I think it was Port Washington, that was because the governor was trying to subvert and take all the zoning away from all the localities, that you would have had to have gone to Albany and testify, or Albany would be dictating down here. I think, but Ms. Wright, that's what we do down here is, and I mean this sincerely, is we have hearings and we're very respectful of the residents, and we're very respectful of your comments and thoughts, and that was the purpose of that. I just want to let you know that. So I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate you bringing attention to issues that affect you, because that's the importance of this. Next, Greg Alvarez, but I think you already went, Greg? Yep. All right. Amana La Rosa that was your testimony. Zach Chaplin, your team, okay. Eric Alexander. Good morning. If you give your name and address, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Eric Alexander, address 24 Woodbine Avenue, Northport, New York. I'm the director of Vision Long Island. We were part of 3 planning efforts in Baldwin. One out of the county tried to transit-oriented development. Another county resiliency plan that was also planning for revitalization along the corridor, and then another that helped create the mixed-use zoning district, the overlay with the town. So want to be clear that the zoning that you guys did and this project have nothing to do with what strange, oppressive mandates out of Albany. So that's number one. And I think everyone's united in opposition to, including your leadership, supervisor, and the board. So we're talking about planning locally. That's really the effort. We have done a preliminary review of this project just on our own. And this follows the vision that we heard at hundreds of people came out to multiple meetings for revitalization along Grand Avenue, to have development in some areas, but not everywhere in town. And this, from a parking perspective, usually these projects park themselves. There are less cars that come out of multifamily development. The design, I think there's coordination with the Civic Association and others to get the design to fit the character, the community. The density is relatively lower compared to other transit-oriented developments. The use, the location were within the parameters of the mixed-use zoning overlay. And, the residential market is strong, and the office component really allows, young entrepreneurs to be part of the community. These work smart efforts that are part of multiple developments. There's in Hicksville and Riverhead, they're in Huntington Station. They're well utilized, and folks aren't commuting as much into Manhattan, but they on the days they're not, it gives them an opportunity to be local and work locally. So there's a tremendous value in that. This developer has won multiple Smart Growth Awards for Hicksville and Riverhead, and we do know we're happy to see that they're coordinating with the local community, and we don't always see that with some developers, and this one is. So with that, I'll stop. It's most important you hear local community voices as opposed to our voice. I don't live in Baldwin, so just wanted to just give some comments just as a backdrop. So thank you, Supervisor, members of the Town Board.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Next, I have Thomas Salvatore.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and address. Thank you.
Thomas Salvatore, 2307 Harrison Avenue, Baldwin, 11510. That address is critically important, right? The sign that I look at is right on my driveway. That's where you're going to start digging, right? The engineers? Okay. Right up the block, what the engineers described is a duplicate. Right down to the fence that's closed most of the time, but not just for emergencies. It's open a lot. It's open a lot when there's garbage. It's open a lot. So we already have this. Not only is this address important, I'm a first-generation German and Italian, 1966 born and bred in Baldwin, Van Buren Street. Seen a lot of changes in Baldwin. Racial wars while I'm in college at my old high school. I welcome diversity, but I also saw a card that was given to me by the owner of that house, my landlord, a gentleman named Don Clavin, that doesn't want the migrant illegal housing coming out to Nassau County. There's the elephant in the room, right? Who's filling the 54 units? It's one of my questions I want. Okay. The first precinct is on the corner of Merrick and Harrison. You should see the cops when they're doing their job, flying down that road, helping somebody in our community that needs the help. In the sign, you specifically say less than required parking. You specifically say less than required landscape buffer. The civil engineer told you that's a narrow lot. I have a minute left, but I'm sick. I'm sick. I'm tired of 57 years of watching my town go to you know what. I can't say it because I'm a man of decency and I'm a man of principle. And if you mean what's on that card that my landlord's about to show you, that you highlighted in yellow, that you don't want what we're all talking about today. 54 units for who? Right, Jeanette? Right, my neighbor? You left your readers over here. I'm telling you, this is wrong. 10 seconds, I yelled back, sick and disgusted.
Okay. All right. Next I have Thomas Ricky. Okay, your team. I don't have any other slips on this item. Is there anybody that did not, if there anybody else that did not sign in that would like to speak, if you just go to the back there and give your name and address, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Oder. I live at 757 Bixby Drive in Baldwin. And to dovetail off of Thomas, if Thomas is upset because his property is right across the street from the proposed development, I am alarmingly, vehemently, and I don't even know if there's an appropriate adjective to describe how blown away I am to have received this letter yesterday. I got it yesterday. I am just as upset as him, probably more so upset, because my house, My home that I've lived in for 38 years, that I've raised my children in, is right in the middle of this nightmare. Michael Ciceri's funeral home, if you stand in my backyard, is all the way in the left corner of the back of my property. His parking lot is the back part of my property, and I'm going to be stuck in the middle of this absolute horrific nightmare. I feel for Thomas because those of us that are going to be caught in this triangle here are going to be the most impacted. And I'm going to tell you that when I got the letter, I thought that this was going to be about the project that is proposed to be on Grand Avenue and Sunrise Highway, which we've been battling over and talking about. It wasn't until I sat down here that I realized that this is Michael Ciceri's property. And I'm going to tell you that if you think that you're going to build this, you better come and buy my property too, because my property is going to be worthless. Don't talk to me about your 15-foot buffer and your landscaping and what it's going to look like. So now I'm going to have a gigantic building right in my backyard with parking lots. And as Thomas said, who's going to live there? I pay $17,000 a year in real estate taxes to live in blighted Baldwin. Drive around Baldwin. Go take a look at what's going on there. You have empty buildings, you have abandoned commercial property, it's a disgrace. Oh, but let's put nice flowers and roses and perfume on this wonderful building that you're going to build here. Baldwin has been the blighted ovum of Nassau County. I went to Merrick the other day. I can't believe what they did in the Merrick Shopping Center at Lytle. Brand new restaurants, Sephora went in there. Every town in Nassau County gets revitalized. What happened to Baldwin? So I'm going to tell you, I only have 20 more seconds. I need like 20 more hours. I want to meet with these planners. I want to meet with these attorneys. I will do everything in my power to stop this unless they're going to buy my property, because my property is going to be worth nothing when you build this. And I want to know why I have to pay $17,000 a year in real estate taxes when people on the North Shore are paying $8,000 for $1 million homes. And just real quickly to dovetail off Rhonda.
The time is up. Just one question for you. You signaled a letter you had. If you could do me a favor, maybe somebody could get a copy of that letter, and we could make it part of the record, because I don't have that letter. So one of the staffers is going to take and make a copy of it so we could submit it, so we have it for the record, okay? Thank you. I know I saw a couple other people that didn't, there were a couple other people that didn't sign in that raised their hand. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eric Stutz, Baldwin resident for 22 years, 2307 Harrison Avenue. It is a legal two-family. That's one of the reasons I bought it. You know, I could see maybe developing this lot into one or two families at max, but 54 units is completely ridiculous. I'm strongly opposed to it. A few of my neighbors couldn't take off of work today to be here, but I know they're strongly opposed to it as well. Not to mention that we just approved, or the town just approved, a 225 unit 100 feet away from this lot with the main entrance on Harrison Avenue. I mean, this is just totally ridiculous, strongly opposed, and like the previous speaker, I'd like to have a sit down with all the planners and the attorneys as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stutz. Thank you. I know that there was another resident that didn't sign it, wanted to speak. Please, if you, it didn't come up, but that's fine. If you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Yes, my name's Kelly Duggan. I live next to Eric at 2315 Harrison Avenue. Again, we have that 200-plus building that was approved, which didn't have enough parking to begin with. Now you want another building directly next to it, which is across the street from our home, 54 units, that doesn't have enough space for, what is it? The landscaping plus parking. We also have the Grand Avenue projects. Their parking lot is just down at the end of Harrison going towards Merrick, which we have as well. This is overkill. I know that, Mr. Clavin, you have been opposed to all of this urbanization. So we don't need double, and it's too much for our residential. Harrison Avenue should not be the poster child for the urbanization that Governor Hochul wants. Please, I'm opposed to this.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this? Ma'am, if you go back there, right there. Your name and address for the record, thank you.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. One thing I hear at these meetings quite frequently, not as much as in the past, but that many people say this is the first time I've been to a town board meeting, and that is very helpful to our community to see what's going on in our government. I agree with the premise about the governor. I wouldn't put her in charge of a dollhouse. Putting that aside, I think a lot of people put faith, especially in you, Supervisor Clavin. I know I have, and you've come through at times. This is not 2019 anymore, where people are not paying attention. They're paying such close attention. Whether it was COVID that woke people up, whether it was the presidential election, I just know that people are paying attention. And people also entrusted this board to make decisions, whether it's on behalf of taxpayers, residents, animals, especially for me, the animals, whether it's minorities, especially the environment. I'm just going to say this. No incentive, if there is one, is ever worth losing faith and having the public lose faith in an administration. No incentive. So I hope that you consider everything that the people here spoke about. We need you. You were entrusted to protect the environment, to protect citizens, to keep taxes lowered. And I hope you do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sven. Thank you. Ma'am, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gina Rodway. I live at 2339 Harrison Avenue. And just like the other individuals who are here to represent Harrison Avenue, I am here also. The nightmare that you are about to unleash on Harrison Avenue is absolutely ridiculous to me that the board doesn't see this. Right now, the parking situation that will occur on Harrison Avenue as a result of not only this unit, but the other unit that is scheduled to be built there is going to cause just chaos. As was said before, the parking is one thing. Who is going to rent these buildings? They're not vested in our neighborhood as we are vested in our neighborhood. All the things that were said here today, I am going to repeat because they're all very true. There's no way that anyone can say that any of the individuals that spoke today are speaking in a miscommunicated kind of way. We know exactly what will happen. My property value will go down. It will overcrowd the area. We're going to have a big halt in the precinct doing what they have to do, and the police going to where they have to go. You have another unit over some, I think, 200 units plus this unit. Yes, it is overkill. What more did you as a board need to understand? And of course, one more thing, we entrusted this board to do the right thing for Baldwin as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Name and address, please.
Ann Calvo, 2360 Harrison Avenue, Baldwin. I was here for the last hearing that was already a done deal. So today I wasn't even going to speak to you because I felt it was a done deal again. And then when there's $200,000, community money at large, I just want to reiterate that lately I'm very disappointed in government overall. 2 years ago, I should have moved to Florida because my taxes are out of control also, and my son never went to public school. I put him in parochial school, even through Fordham College. He's a police officer and National Guard. So I feel we give back, and I'm a retired nurse. This is enough already. Drive up and down Grand Avenue. Our property value is going to plummet. As already you've heard, you already approved those 215 apartments. No one's going to open stores. You've got buildings all along Grand Avenue that they should tear them down. They had to close a barber shop, nail salon, bodega, liquor store. So you've already got condemned buildings on Grand Avenue you could help repair. Elected officials that, again, I repeat, I voted for you guys last time. I'm going to think twice this time. And I have always worked in a diverse, multi-diverse population, gave my heart and soul for what I did as a nurse for a very long time, and I feel that we have been abandoned and we are not being listened to, and that you have these hearings just to satisfy your books. And are we angry? Yes, we already have apartment buildings along Grand Avenue, and thank God we have some low-income housing. Look at that housing they put up where Roosevelt Raceway was, okay? Almost $800,000 my cousin paid for that. Look at Mineola. One bedroom, $3,000 a month to overlook the railroad. And I asked you guys the last time, are you going to lower our taxes? Because it's not going to be residential or suburban. You had the audacity to send us those postcards when Governor Hochul said she wanted to put this housing near every railroad. When you look at that railroad station, they have big trucks parked in it now because since the pandemic, we had cars from Freeport to Oceanside parked in that parking lot along Sunrise. You're lucky you get those two big blocks.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
So if you
Thank you very much. Ma'am, thank you very much. Ma'am, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Did anybody else that did not speak yet, did not sign in? Name and address, please. Thank you.
Karen Montalbano, Park Avenue, Baldwin, Government Liaison for the Baldwin Civic Association. I have to note that, yes, we have talked with this developer. We've tried to work with them, and they have been working with us, which is a very positive thing. Transit-oriented development will bring in people to help support the stores and help support what we need to make our community grow. That is one of the reasons why we have backed the transit-oriented development. The BCA has backed transit-oriented development, the Baldwin Civic Overlay District. I understand the parking concerns. I think that the town may need to step in on that. The person who brought up the permitting is probably got a very good solution. But we need to continue to develop to bring in more people to support our town. If I'm not mistaken, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, these are market rate apartments. These are not apartments aimed at low income or affordable. That's going to bring in people who are going to be able to spend in our community. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else wish to be heard that did not sign that hasn't spoken already? Mr. Alvarez, look, obviously, you're hearing a lot of concern of residents. who live adjoining street with the parking. In addition, I do have a couple of questions. Do you plan on going to the IDA?
Yes, there is an application pending with the IDA.
Okay, and what about your feelings on prevailing wage?
Yes, the prevailing wage will be met.
Are you going to have a full discussion with the IDA about prevailing wage? Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I said we'll be speaking with the IDA, and if it even gets that far, and about prevailing wage, which is an issue particularly with unions, to make sure that union jobs are kept union jobs, and we don't outsource it to anybody. But I'm more concerned that I think there is a lot of questions that the residents have brought forth that really, I think, warrant taking the time to meet with the residents and discuss it with you. You can see the passion. You can hear their concerns, and everybody should. They have a lot on the line, and I respect that tremendously of them. So with that, if you'd like to have any closing thoughts or make any remarks, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sure. So, we also appreciate the comments from the community on both sides. We obviously heard both sides today. Just to clear up a few, misconceptions, I like to do that initially. But, we definitely hear you, Supervisor, and, welcome the opportunity to speak with the folks who spoke today, because we do want to answer the questions that did arise. We want to make sure that, it's clear on a couple of things, including, again, this is a market rate development. The purpose of it is to bring in those young professionals and the folks who, may not want to hold on to their house anymore, but they want to stay on Long Island. And they're all Long Islanders, and they're folks that want to be a part of the Baldwin community just like everyone else. The other points I'd like to make involve just the proposal itself. As mentioned, we've gone through quite extensively to make sure that in terms of traffic and parking, that has been fully vetted and reviewed, and it has been reviewed during the entirety of this process. In fact, to the point of parking, we would just like to point out that we have been very conservative in our numbers in terms of what we're proposing for this site. While we're proposing 69 spaces, we actually have 10 more spaces that are going to be accommodated on the lot itself. And that's intended for folks who have perhaps more than one car in their unit so that it could be accommodated on site. As we've mentioned, the proximity to the train station is the real key here, and the key to creating a development that can accommodate the parking that will go on the site, and for folks to not necessarily have to get in their car and frequent the stores within Baldwin rather than get in their car. And that's really the whole point of this development. So again, we have been working all along with as many folks as we can, including the Civic Association, on this. But certainly, if there are further questions, we're here to answer them for them and to make sure that this development is in keeping with what was envisioned for this area and for the community at large. Okay. So thank you.
All right.
I have a few questions, Mr. Supervisor, if I may.
Yep.
Did you perform any study of how this would impact the school district?
Yes. Yes. So we included that as part of our secret review. We included analysis to evaluate the number of school children, and I think it was on the order of single digits, if that, in terms of the production of school-age children. Simply because for the fact of who these developments typically cater to. It's towards the young, it's towards perhaps even the folks of the old, of folks who, again, don't necessarily want to hold on to their house but want to stay in Long Island. So it's those folks, and that's really why, in the end, the production of school children is not very high.
And is there a percentage of workforce housing incorporated into this development?
For this development, as stated, this is market rate. And the reason behind it was this. The intention was for this community and for this overlay district, there's an interest, I think, in terms of a diversity of housing options. And so in this particular case, the market rate would be offered. But I also note that as part of this development, it stands apart from the other developments that have already been before this board in that during the DRI process, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative process, this G2D declined seeking funds under that $10 million availability, as opposed to the other two developments which did, and they have workforce. So that sets this development apart as well.
Thank you.
Deputy Supervisor, do you have a question?
I'd like to ask a question. One lady had a letter. Did you send letters out to everybody in that area that were involved with this?
Of course. So we are.
Let's.
Just a minute, please. Did you send them out?
Yes. So we're required by the rules of the town to send them out to the radius of the community. I believe it's 200 feet or 300 feet. Forgive me. And it was sent out 10 days before. We understand that sometimes it takes a couple of deliveries for the certified to reach folks, so that might explain the reason why one of the speakers had noted it. And the folks in the radius all received it. We provided proof of noticing to the town attorney's office.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, please.
He will take care of that, I'm sure, in the future.
Thank you.
Right?
Okay. All right, Mr. Alvarez. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion of board?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board reserve decision.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clavin?
I move to reserve decision.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Okay.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Alvarez, I will point out, as you know, we did reserve decision, and I would ask you, to reach out to the residents on a number of the concerns. All right? And thank you very much. You've made the commitment. I appreciate that. Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have the application of AB Malvern LLC for a variance from the provisions of the GSS ordinance to operate a self-service at an existing service station and to operate a convenience store, demolish existing gasoline service station, to construct a one-story 26 by 46-foot convenience store, install fuel dispensing pumps, construct overhead canopy over 3 pump islands, and other associated site improvements including grading, landscaping, paving, parking, curbing, and lighting, and to modify and rescind existing restrictive covenants in order to modify a previously approved site plan in Malvern.
Good morning, Councilor. If you give your name and address for the record.
Yes, good morning, Supervisor Clavin, Deputy Supervisor Gooseby, honorable members of the board, Council, Madam Clerk. It's a beautiful day in the town of Hempstead. Kevin O'Brien on behalf of the applicant, offices, O'Brien Law PC, offices at 462 Sagamore Avenue, East Williston, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, my apologies, quite frankly, in that it's taken us sort of like this long to get the site plans in a format which I think is appropriate. We were before the board back in June, and we had a couple of different architects working on it, but I believe that we have everything appropriate now. So since we did have a full hearing, I won't bore the board or members of the public with all the details that we had gone through before, but what I would like to do is at least offer some of the changes that have been made in connection, with the application. Really nothing substantial.
Well, hold on, Mr. O'Brien.
Certainly.
Are these actually going to be like a presentation of changes this time around? Is this like a firm one this time? Before we go down the rabbit hole with you,
This is.
you're not gonna spring any surprises on us because we've accommodated you on 2 occasions, and it is a beautiful day here in Hempstead. But I will tell you this right now, like I said, are all your plans submitted this time?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Have you talked to the residents? And you can see I'm a little frustrated because this is now the 3rd time this has been on the calendar, and you know what? I want to make sure it's done correctly. I want to make sure the residents are all informed before we even start this presentation, because at the end of it, I don't want to have to say we're going to adjourn it again. Is this going to be fair to say you've done everything in due diligence on this case?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great.
So essentially, what we've done is we did not have colored renderings before. We did not have colored site plans. So the site plans that are up on the screen depict landscaping that has been added around the perimeter of the property. Also, we've submitted to the board cut sheets, which actually depicts the actual varieties of landscaping that are being proposed. So the location of the building remains the same. The location of the pump islands remains the same. The location of the canopy remains the same. But the plan that's that's up on the screen right now depicts the varieties and the type of landscaping, the location, and the colors of it. Then if we could switch to, we have an elevational drawing. That shows the landscaping. But then what we have made a substantial change to is the architectural design of the building. So we were not satisfied with the architectural design that we had before. This is a residential area, residential community. So what we have done is, as far as the actual building is concerned, the location is the same size, the footprint is the same size. So we've not changed anything like that, but we have changed the nature of the building, the materials that we're using with respect to that. So we know we have the farm down the road, so we kind of put a cupola on there. The building itself, we're very proud of the architectural design, how it's going to look, and we did not have that in the hearings before. So what we have before the board is the completely revised architectural design, but I do want to make it clear that the size of the building has not changed, the location of the building has not changed. We've also incorporated that same architecture into the canopy design itself as well, so that they would both match one another. But once again, the setbacks for the setbacks for the pump islands and for the canopy and for the building, all that has remained identical. It's the design and the materials that has changed. And other than that, everything remains the same. And I do have my design, one of the little bit of the confusion, we did have 2 design professionals in connection with this project. I do have Michael Rubenstein from R Designs here with me today, so if there are any questions on the site plan, he could certainly address them. As outlined, those are the changes that have been made, and we think it is, we're really proud of the architectural design, the elements, the buffers that we've incorporated.
If I may, I'm looking at the plans, and they're quite detailed. And you mentioned last meeting that you were going to have an American flagpole and everything on the property, and I don't see that on the plan at all.
I think they're going to put the flagpole at the south side of the property.
Well, is it, you think they're going to do it, or are they going to do it?
Yes, they are going to put it on the south side of the property.
Okay. All right,
I have a question.
Sure.
Is this expected to be open 24 hours? What are the hours?
No, it would be, we'd be looking at 5 in the morning to about 11 o'clock at night.
Okay, and the only entrances on this map I'm seeing here are from on the Hempstead Avenue portion of it?
That's correct. There is a corner over there, but the corner, if you look at the radius map and at the property, I think it's Morris, if my recollection is correct, to the south.
Yeah.
There's a grass strip over there, which is actually owned by the neighbor. The only entrance and exits are going to be on Hempstead Avenue, and the The entrance, basically, it'd be an entrance only on the north side and an exit only on the south side.
Okay.
No left-hand turns.
No, that's north of it. Now, oh, I'm sorry.
Question. So these new plans were submitted Friday? Is that correct?
Let's see. We had submitted, yes, we had,
And so how have you updated everybody? They're all aware of these new plans, the community, everybody's been clued in?
The mayor of, we have been in communication with the mayor, but no, the community has not received a copy of these plans. The plans get filed with the clerk's office.
Wait a minute. You know, it's a Tuesday. It's October 3rd. I respectfully, Counselor, I asked you if you had everything in place and you had set this thing up and we weren't going to have any last minute, bumps in the road that were going to be an indication that not everybody was on board. And you said you did. Maybe I'll have the town clerk read that back, but I did. Councilwoman Miller asked a very relevant question. If the people who live around this thing have gotten the plans, and now the answer is,
well,
no, the answer is
no. The people.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure I don't need the answer is no. It's a very relevant question to raise. That's a concern. Wouldn't you agree?
And I had met with some, and there are some people, quite frankly, you're not going to be able to make everybody happy.
Okay, but Mr. O'Brien, I'm going to read it back to you because I know I asked you. I said, so did the residents get the plans before Friday? And I wrote, I take notes and everybody knows. You said no, and I wrote that down in big letters right here. That's a concern for everybody on the board. Like I said, this has been a task in person, and I don't want to rehash, your past renderings of gas stations that were fictitious imaginations that weren't. This is a really nice rendering. I'm very appreciative of it. I know that, that residents in the area, want to be kept informed on this. I appreciate you letting us know that. I know there are a number of residents that came down here. I see that one of them is, and now it's not the incorporated portion of this project, but I see that the mayor's here. We'll hear from the mayor and we'll get his thoughts on this too, okay? Okay. Is there anybody else you wanted to bring up and talk about it?
Like I said, just I do have the design professional if there are any questions there. And as I had mentioned before, the location of everything has remained the same. It's really more aesthetic and design and buffer and landscaping.
Okay.
That's been changed. Everything else remains the same.
Okay. All right. First, I know I saw him. I saw the mayor of Malvern's here. Mayor Sullivan, thanks for taking the time yet again to come on down here.
Supervisor, board members, thank you for having us this morning. As you noted, Supervisor, we are in the incorporated village of Malvern and do not hold jurisdiction over this property, but I would like to say on behalf of the incorporated village of Malvern, its residents, and especially our board, I'm accompanied today by my fellow board member, Trustee Lori Lang, that we have been provided these renderings and an updated site plan, and they do address the items that we have discussed both here publicly and in private with the applicant's attorney and architect who've been forthcoming with us as a village, have been working with us very diligently on presenting really one of the nicest gas station designs I've ever seen. Hopefully they are upheld to that design. But I am glad with the outcome. I think it blends in well with the immediate community. Although I do not represent Malvern Park, I do try and help them as best as I can. But our concerns have been met. We're happy with the outcome, and we're appreciative, especially of your efforts with putting us together with the applicant. I think this is a product of good government between the town and the village and private business. Thank you.
Mayor, I appreciate Mayor, and like I said, and I appreciate the trustee coming in last time, and kudos to Mr. O'Brien for taking the time to meet with you and address the concerns that you're at a comfort level. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Now, I do have. I might say the name wrong, but I don't think there's any relationship. I do have a Christopher Serini here. Sereni. Now, we got a Councilman Carini, that's Chris Carini, so I want to make sure that,
Chris Remy, 10 Atlas Avenue, Malvern. I appreciate the renderings. I think they look fantastic. But why aren't the actual houses that are around it in the photo? So, let's make it real.
Just so I know, what's your address? So I can.
10 Atlas. I abut the side of the property.
Gotcha.
Quick question, too. I didn't know. If a meeting is adjourned, are they supposed to send an additional letter out and change the signage outside of this gas station with the correct date? Because none of that was done.
As long as we adjourn it to a set date from one hearing to another, there's no further requirement of notice.
Okay. Just curious. Hours of operation, 11 o'clock is obscene. It's the middle of a residential neighborhood. 9 o'clock is pushing it, but doable. Having this gigantic canopy doesn't make any sense. I made a list I went on Google Maps for 5 minutes and found 9 gas stations with no canopies over any of their pumps. At least it would then blend in with the neighborhood. It would look like a house, although there's gas pumps there. But this canopy, it's 18 feet in the air. I look out my window and all I see is a giant canopy. Are they going to be selling beer? Or obviously not liquor, because it's not a liquor store, but beer and whatnot at night. We originally did speak about when it's closed, are the lights off? The driveways need to have a chain on them so people can't park in there at night, because all sorts of weird things happen in there when there's no fencing up. What else? When and if the building does come down, is there going to be a lead abatement? Asbestos? There's raccoons living in there right now. There's rats and there's squirrels. So I want to make sure those things are addressed. The property still is not cleaned up. It's a disaster still. There's still an excavator behind the building hiding. They're not following through on what they're doing. I don't believe any of this is going to take place. So I'm still trying to figure out why the building department would give them a permit to change the tanks in the ground you can't use what they put in right now because the building's in the way. So that's kind of shady that that whole thing went through. And I believe there was supposed to be a hearing set if they changed the tank size in the ground. Originally, there was two 8,000-gallon tanks, two 6,000-gallon tanks and an 8,000-gallon tank. There's now two 20,000-gallon tanks in. So I got 40,000 gallons of gasoline sitting in my backyard. Is there going to be a concrete wall put up along my property line that's going to hold the car back? A guardrail will not do it. Guardrail is meant to be hit on the side, not head on. The traffic is going to be, as it is. The board approved those 12 condo units, I think they are. They're not finished yet. That's going to add more traffic. Has a traffic study been done on the gas station yet? There's a lot of just unanswered questions. I've never seen any of this stuff, and I live next door to the property.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, thank you.
No, we appreciate you coming in. Now, I don't have anybody. Relax there. We'll get to you, Mr. Picacci. I don't have any other slips on this item before I bring up council again. Is there anybody that did not sign in that wishes to be heard on this? Mr. Picacci, sure.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. Don, I agree with your frustration on this issue. See, we agree on something. I've mentioned this, I don't know how many months, maybe a couple of years ago. Plans that before an application is presented, the plan should be put on the website along with the resolution so the residents can see what's going to be done. So they could see what's missing, if the flagpole is missing, if the wall is missing, if there's a canopy they don't like, so they're well informed. Having a standard procedure, so it's not a question of, subjectivity, that you require all applicants to submit their plans to the town prior to so many days prior to the meeting so they can be put on the website and everybody could see what's going on. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else that did not sign in wishes to be heard on this? All right, Counselor. Look, in particular, Counselor, and like I said, I do appreciate the fact that you did meet with the mayor and the trustee. You have the abutting neighbor who has raised a number of concerns. Have you had any direct conversations with him?
Trying to, and forgive me, I know in the beginning I had multiple conversations with multiple neighbors. Not 100% sure if this was the gentleman that I spoke with or not, if it was the other contiguous. I know there was concern about the buffer, so we had increased the buffer. And you know, dimensionally, everything has remained the same. The issue, the changes really that have been made have been more architectural, landscaping, and buffer.
Well, he had some direct, so let me, because I take notes. He wanted to know about, will there be alcohol, beer sold at the store?
And I believe that was discussed at the first hearing. And,
okay, well, the answer is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. He had a concern about lighting. If the facility closes at 11 or at 9 o'clock, will the lighting go on or will the lighting be turned off?
The lighting would be turned off. All signage lighting, we typically would ask for, say, a half an hour within the interior of the premises. So if they're if they're cleaning up and there's lights on in the interior, the exterior would be closed, but interior would be on, say, for half an hour just to clean up before they leave.
Okay. All right. Oh, Councilman Dunn pointed this out, that there was the question of would there be a willingness to chain off the property when not in use to avoid people coming in there and driving their cars or parking or lingering in the area?
Yeah, I see no objection to that.
Okay. Okay. No, I know. Deputy Mayor just raised a valid concern. She is concerned about the traffic flow going from the area and getting on Hempstead Turnpike. Was there any sort of additional traffic study done there?
We've submitted it to the Nassau County Department of Public Works. The one thing I would point out is that the pump islands that are proposed are further away from where the pump islands previously existed at the site. So the design professionals who designed it, felt that they're pulling the cars off the road, enabling more fueling positions. So this way, there shouldn't be any queuing onto the street. So the design professionals took that into account.
I have another question.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Being where that is there going to be a sign that says no left turn, that you can't pull out of the station and cross over that one road that goes into Hempstead Avenue and the others that go down Ocean? That would be very dangerous.
Yes, we've designed it such a way it's going to be, I think I might have mentioned earlier, where it's going to be right-hand turn on the north side. So entrance only on the north, exit only on the south, and we can put no left-hand turns in there, but it's going to be designed in such a way to channel the traffic in that.
So you're going to flow the traffic into the village?
Correct.
Mayor's going to be real happy about that. All right.
And there's going to be no access to the side road, the abutting side road. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What I will say is, perhaps, the one neighbor has made it a point of coming yet again to the meeting, and I think he's raised some concerns. Maybe a discussion can take place with him. You've made, and I appreciate it again. You did take some time and you've made some assurances about lighting and fencing. Maybe an additional conversation with him to alleviate his concerns. He seems like a very reasonable individual. He's has, I don't think, anything overwhelmingly negative on a couple of things he's raised up. Perhaps you could have a discussion with him to lessen his concerns about what could transpire at that property.
And anybody else in the community who doesn't know about it and might have similar or different objections or questions, or they deserve the opportunity to be updated.
Certainly. I could be in the back room right now.
Fantastic. That would be great. So with that he's willing to meet with the residents, are there any other questions of the board? Okay. Are there any other questions from residents that didn't testify, didn't sign in? Anything you want to add in before we make any sort of motion?
No, I just, like I said, I think it's I think it's going to be a positive impact on the community. we're, willing to condition to the items that we discussed earlier, and I think it's just going to be a substantial improvement to this particular site and the surrounding community, and we tried to take in as best as we possibly can the comments that we've heard.
Okay, all right, we appreciate it. We had the opportunity, but like I said, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I move the public hearing be closed and that the board reserve decision.
Okay, reserve decision, okay. You did. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay.
Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby? Councilwoman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Aye.
Again, obviously we've reserved decision, and I appreciate, Mr. O'Brien, your presentation. I appreciate the neighbor in particular who came down here today. And as you heard, Mr. O'Brien actually said he would take the time to go right in the back and talk about some of your concerns, and we tried to address a few of them that were fair questions, and I said, I think their response was more in line with what you would hope for, and they seem to be very receptive to being very good neighbors to you. So what I would say to you is perhaps you'll have a discussion back there, and perhaps you'll follow up with your councilwoman about your thoughts after the program.
Sure.
Fair enough? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. See, good things happen. All right. Rolling along here, folks. All right. Madam Clerk, I'm going to call the administrative calendar. Yep.
Yes, on the administrative calendar, we have items 11 through 42.
All right. Does any member of the board wish to speak on any of the items in the administrative calendar?
Move it first.
All right. I know. Yeah, we'll move first. Can I have a motion on the administrative calendar?
I move the administrative calendar from 11 through 42.
Okay.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Okay. I do have a slip there. Mr. Procacci?
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. Item number 34, the preliminary budget. I think that we should have multiple days, just like your Village of Garden City budget workshops, so you could get input from the people on what they want to see in the budget, what they don't want to see in the budget. Right now, we're one of the only areas that I know that cram everything. We have the largest budget probably in the whole Long Island, if not the whole country, as far as towns are concerned. Yet we just cram it into 2 sessions in which everyone gets only 3 minutes to speak. You should extend the time, if not eliminate the time. The Village of Floral Park goes through every budget item. Each trustee is given one area, and they go exhaustive, and everybody gets to talk as long as they want on those issues. I think that's the better way to do a budget than to just have 2 sessions where we get 3 minutes to talk about a, $500 million budget. Also, on your number 42, your resolution to do the eminent domain on 434 Hempstead Turnpike. I oppose the calling of this hearing. The town recently had a hearing to declare it a public nuisance. You did everything wrong. Whether it's right to call it a public nuisance or not, you did everything wrong. You didn't notice it properly, everything, the number of days, everything was done wrong. And also, you never presented any evidence. If people talk in the courtroom, they have to be put under oath. It's not considered evidence. If someone just talks and you say, he said this and she said that, that's not considered evidence. In your resolution here, as small as it is, it says you spoke to residents. That's not. You didn't provide, where's the affidavits, where's the testimony? You may be right in doing this, but you didn't do the work right. You were frustrated with Mr. O'Brien not doing things right. You're not doing things right. You got to do it by the book. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Bacacci, and I do want to thank you very much for pointing out that we did submit the budget. I know you'll be delighted to know that, once again, here in the town of Hempstead, and aside from getting our AAA bond rating, the town board is working together, and we're happy to freeze taxes while making investments. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a credit really to the great men and women, and somebody that I always like to take the time to craft. He's very, very passionate. He's I frankly think the finest controller in New York State. And I'll tell you right, John Mastermarino, we're lucky to have you here. Thank you very much for your great work. And Ms. Brancacci, I appreciate your analysis that you partake on the hearing. Just so you know, there was evidence taken into account. Everything was followed procedurally correct. And the people who actually have law degrees actually did a wonderful presentation. And I do think the inspector who came from the precinct and also submitted evidence really speaks volumes. So, I just wanted to point that out. I don't have any other slips on the administrative calendar. If not, administrative calendar? Sure. How you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Earl Jacobs, Uniondale. Item 34, I agree with Mr. Procaccia that the budget meeting should be held over a span of 2 days. It's our money. We should have more say in how our money is spent, our tax money is spent. And speaking on behalf of a resident of Uniondale, an underserved community, we're, taxation without representation. We should have more time to speak on our issues. And item 41, is that still on administrative? I think, yeah. Item 41. I would like to know, please provide the scope of this project and what is the proximity to the Uniondale High School pertaining to this project?
Mr. Town Attorney? Reinhardt's going to... You're going to jump over that. Please identify yourself. That would be great. Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisor Clavin, members of the Town Board, Commissioner Reinhardt, Department of Water. 41 is calling a hearing to add a cell provider to the water tower at 1000 Hempstead Boulevard in Uniondale.
I asked you whether it's the proximity to the high school. You know the proximity, it's on Hempstead, Hempstead Boulevard is right near in proximity to the high school. Can you tell me how close it is to the high school? Because cell technology, there are some issues with health issues pertaining to cell technology and the proximity to residents and schools.
I don't have that information here. I'll have that information at the hearing. This is just calling the hearing for the next meeting.
Yeah, because there's satellite technology, there's cell technology, there's also exposure to RF radiation, and it comes along with data study has shown headaches, dizziness, depression, memory impacts, cancer, and even childhood leukemia. So I really need to meet with you about this and bring some people from the community because the cell tower, we have too much of those cell towers close to Turtle Hook School, Turtle Hook Junior High School as well. And it's very close proximity, and that's a concern. And we want to mitigate that from adding any more to that tower. And we need to speak about this proposed tower or this building that's going to be adjacent to that tower in close proximity to the Uniondale High School.
Okay, well, you'll have the November 21st, 2023 hearing to come to. That'd be great.
I will be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other slips that did not sign on the administrative calendar? Okay. With that, can I make a motion we adjourn?
I move that we adjourn. Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Aye. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Okay. I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll start up the public comment. All right, so we'll start at approximately 12:10, 12:15. Thank you.